Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second annual Entrepreneurship in Libraries Conference. The purpose of this free mini conference is for librarians who support entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship around the world to have an opportunity to connect, share, and learn with each other. This conference will specifically explore approaches libraries have undertaken to support social entrepreneurship. Given social entrepreneurship's emphasis on improving and strengthening its communities, it is inherently linked to many of the values and goals of librarianship. Social entrepreneurship is a globally relevant issue that is not centered in the global north and/or the Western view of capitalism, lending itself to an international conference. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you find this conference educational, thought-provoking, and also action-oriented, as well as a networking opportunity. My name is Summer Krstevska, and I am the Business, Economics, and Data Access Librarian at Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, in the United States. I am also one of the co-chairs for this event. I would like to take this time to acknowledge and thank our planning group who have made this workshop a reality. Maybe we can go to that slide actually to show everyone's name. The second slide. Yeah, so this is our planning team. The planning group includes librarians from Iran, India, South Africa, Thailand, Brazil, Nigeria, Tanzania, Canada, and the US. Even though we have this broad planning group, the EntreLib conference and its workshops are officially a service of BLINK, which is an acronym for Business Librarianship in North Carolina, which is a section of the North Carolina Library Association. All right, so actually let's learn a bit about you before we get started. We have some folks here from all over the world, so please tell us your chat in the chat. Please tell us your name, the organization you work for, and what country you are from, so that we can get to know you. Can we go to the next slide, Celine? Oh, this one, thank you. Yeah, at the bottom here, please tell us your name, place of work, and the country you are from in the chat. And as you write this in, I'm going to hand the microphone over to one of the other co-chairs of this conference to tell you about the code of conduct.
Thanks so much, Summer. So yeah, I'll just do a quick reminder of the EntreLib Code of Conduct and also share it in chat along with all the great chats that I see coming in from different participants, just so you have it for reference. So I'm going to share that in chat right now and then just sort of touch on a few of the basics, most important parts of it. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight in our Code of Conduct is that each participant has the right to learn, to network and socialize in an environment of mutual respect and professionalism, free from harassment, discrimination, and retaliation. So creating such an environment is a shared responsibility of everyone involved in this event. I also wanted to share that, that you can contact the co-chairs, that would be Summer, me, and Steve Kramer, if you believe you've been harassed or that a code of conduct violation exists. And I'm just going to share our email addresses and our names again in the chat. So just going to do a little bit of housekeeping too before I pass it on to one of our other organizers. During the speaker talks, please try to keep yourself muted. And if need be, some of the co-hosts will mute you if you're contributing background noise or don't realize that you're unmuted. Any comments and questions are welcome in the chat box at any time, so feel free to participate in that way. During the networking session at the end of today, please feel free to keep your mics on and videos on if you would like. All of the sessions, except for the networking events, will be recorded, so that way people can enjoy them later on. If there's any problems with the Zoom, if there's unexpected people coming in or anything like that, we'll shut down the session and we'll just email you a new link immediately. If you prefer back channel communication, you're welcome to use the hashtag EntreLibCon. I'll put that in chat or our LinkedIn channel. And now, without any further sort of like housekeeping, I'm going to turn it over to Layli to introduce our first workshop.
Thank you, Reese, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Leyli from Iran, University of Birjan. Please feel free if you have any comments and questions, chat in the box. Please type in the chat box. If you have any information about, if you would like to know any information about the introduction. I'm honored to introduce our first workshop, Libraries in the Social Entrepreneurship Sphere, presented by Dr. Elizabeth T. Barbinde from the Department of Library and Information Science at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Dr. Elizabeth, please, if you are, yes. The session is handed over to you. And everyone, I will be your moderator at this workshop. If you have any question about the workshop, feel free to type in the chat box, so we will be answering at the end of the workshop. Thank you. Dr. Elizabeth, the session hand over to you. Thank you. Dr. Elizabeth, you are muted. Can you hear Dr. Elizabeth?
No, she's not muted, but I cannot hear
But
her.
yeah.
We can see you, we just cannot hear you.
We are seeing you, Dr. Elizabeth, but we can't hear you.
Should we have our second session go first while?
I think that's a great idea. Then maybe we can just switch the two sessions around if the presenters are okay with that.
Well, let's
Just check.
let's just see if we can hear her one more time. Dr. Elizabeth, can you try to speak for us? You're muted. Yeah, we still cannot hear you. So we're going to let the second session go first, and then you can reconfigure your microphone. Is that okay, Dr. Elizabeth? You can go second. Okay, we're going to do that while she figures out her microphone. Okay. Yeah, just keep in mind we're all coming from different time zones. Some of us are not awake, some of us are tired. So, all right. Edward, do you mind introducing what was formerly our second speaker? And then we'll go back to Leyli to introduce Dr. Elizabeth.
Sure, I just want to check whether Dr. Akram Fatian is ready. I see her, but I just want to check in with her whether she's ready to go first. You able to unmute yourself? Yep, you're unmuted, huh? If you're ready, I can introduce you, no problem.
Celine, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I have your video ready to go. If you are ready to go, Doctor.
Mr. Nader, please start.
Okay, so you are good to go. Good to go.
Yeah.
There's that.
Okay,
Okay,
sure.
Edward, we're good to go because this one's a recording, but good to check in. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so our next workshop is a prototype ontology for modeling entrepreneurship in libraries, presented by Dr. Akram Fatian, an assistant professor at the Regional Information Center for Science and Technology. So as we know, this session has been recorded and we will now play the recording for you. Dr. Akram Fatian, along with her translator, Mr. Betula Metolo, will answer any questions that you have at the end of the presentation. So again, just feel free to type your comments and questions in chat, and I will moderate this session.
Yes.
I'm going to start playing, and please let me know if the audio is playing. Just someone in the chat. Thank you.
Service by presenting this workshop. I'm honored by your presence. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Akram Fatian. I'm an assistant professor of the Regional Information Center for Science and Technology, RISES, from Iran. I hope that the content I present to you is useful and comprehensive. At the end of the workshop, I will answer your questions and we can have an interactive discussion. The title of my workshop is A Prototype Ontology for Modeling Entrepreneurship in Libraries. In the present workshop, I will first discuss issues related to entrepreneurship. After that, I will talk about how to design an ontology. The main topics of the workshop are as follows: Introduction to the entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship in libraries, entrepreneur-librarian skills, ontology and entrepreneurship, designing the entrepreneur and RDF ontology graphs. Introduction to the entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a way to benefit from opportunities and create new products and services. Social entrepreneurship is a concept that encourages entrepreneurs to seek business ventures to solve social issues, unlike a traditional entrepreneurship where monetary profit is sought. The entrepreneurship concept has expanded to social entrepreneurship, which is the concept of a person driven to create an innovative opportunity to solve social problems rather than the traditional entrepreneurial concept of an entrepreneur seeking a business venture for profit. Libraries have supported both entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship in libraries refers to a process where a librarian and information scientist develops new or innovative ideas and identifies new and innovative opportunities for the production of goods or services. Thus, it is vital that libraries and librarians move beyond their traditional role as passive information channels and actively engage in marketing services and entrepreneurship in the organization. Due to the increase in the demand for providing services to clients in information centers and public libraries, an entrepreneur librarian is one of the primary sources of entrepreneurship and identification and provision of services. An entrepreneur librarian must have both entrepreneurial and lease skills. Ontology and entrepreneurship. In this article, due to the importance of entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship in libraries and the benefits of displaying relationships between the concepts These areas were modeled using ontology. After reviewing the literature, it was realized that there is a lack of a semantic model for entrepreneurship. Therefore, I attempted to develop a better understanding of entrepreneurship by integrating models and conceptual frameworks of entrepreneurship such as Iqbal and Ihejirika, Bott and Ahmad, Andinejad, to create a prototype ontology model. What is an ontology? An ontology is explicit formal specifications of the terms in the domain and relations among them. An ontology is an explicit formal conceptualization of some domain of interest. Ontologies are increasingly used in various fields, such as knowledge management, information extraction, and the semantic web. Ontology is commonly used as a structure capturing knowledge about a certain area via providing relevant concepts and relations between them. An ontology is usually built to share a general understanding of a domain, utilize and analyze the existing body of knowledge in a field, and isolate domain knowledge from practical information. The main components of an ontology are classes, relations, and individuals. Classes are sets, collections, concepts, classes in programming, types of objects or kinds of things. Relations are ways in which classes and individuals can be related to one another. Individuals are instances of the classes or objects. For example, individuals for the book class are books such as Learning Sparkle, Semantic Web Programming, Linked Data, etc. Entrepreneur Ont. In this research, the ontology model called Entrepreneur Ont was designed using Protege software. Protege is a free open source ontology editor and framework for building intelligent systems and ontologies. As you can see, as you can see on the Protege website, you can install and use its different versions, including the desktop version or Web Protege. In general, everything you need to design ontology in Protege is provided on this website. Design the Entrepreneur Ont. The following steps provide a general guideline for ontology development. Determine the domain and scope of the ontology. Consider reusing existing ontologies. Enumerate important terms. Define the classes and class hierarchy. Define the properties of classes. Define the facets of the slots and create instances. Define the classes and class hierarchy. To design the ontology and semantic modeling of the entrepreneurship domain, classes, relations, and individuals were identified. In the first step, the three main classes, including research topics for library entrepreneurship, entrepreneur librarian, and entrepreneurial opportunities for lease, and their subclasses were entered in the Protege editor. In this way, a taxonomy of concepts related to the field of entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship was created. The figure shows an example of imported classes, such as the entrepreneurship skills class in the Protege. As you can see in the figure, on the left side, we have a window called class hierarchy, which classes and subclasses, actually taxonomy, are presented in this window. By clicking on any class, a window will open on the right side and display information about that class. For example, here for the class entrepreneurship skills, some individuals or instances such as building relationships, change orientation, communication, decision making, and etc. Were defined, and also an annotation property called comment was created to define it, as you can see in the picture. Some of the subclasses for the class entrepreneurial opportunities for risk are editing services and exhibitor. Editing services class has two subclasses, including books and periodicals, as you can see in the picture. And the exhibitor class has two subclasses, including art, book fairs, and museum exhibitions. Define the properties and relations between classes. We created the relationships between individuals with some data properties such as other names, related websites, description, and some object properties such as has a skills, has creator, has entrepreneurial opportunities, and some annotation properties such as comment, image, is defined by, etc. Object properties. We use object property to describe binary relationships between two individuals or instances of the classes. For example, here we have two classes including entrepreneur librarian and entrepreneurial opportunities for lease, and a relation between them called has entrepreneurial opportunities that relates the instances or members of these classes. According to the figure, we also have the inverse relationship here called is entrepreneurial opportunities for, which is the inverted direction of the relationship, as you see. Object property characteristics that must be defined for each relationship in the protege are functional, inverse functional, transitive, symmetric, asymmetric, reflexive, and irreflexive. Data type properties. The data type property relates individuals of a class to a literal, for example, a number, a string, a date, etc. For example, for the book fair class, we can define a data type property called name to define the names of the book fairs. It is obvious that the names of the book fairs are of a string type. For example, Tehran International Book Fair, or Istanbul Book Fair, the London Book Fair. Different types of data. In this figure, you can see different types of data, such as any URI, a literal, a byte, a date time, decimal, double, integer, language, name, and etc. Annotation properties. Annotation properties are used to place annotations on individuals, class names, property names, and ontology names, such as comment is defined by label, see also, image, prior version. Create instances or individuals in ontology. In the next step, the individuals related to the classes were defined in the Protégé editor. For example, book club, building relationships, change orientation, commercial, public libraries, communication, computer services, decision making, digital publishing. The figure shows the list of defined individuals. Excuse me. For example, book club instance in entrepreneur-owned ontology. In this figure, we have defined some annotation properties, including comment is defined by image, etc. For the individual book club, we provided images related to it using the schema image property. We also define other names of this term using the other names data type property. RDF ontology graphs. Ontology is a graph-based model. In Protégé software, some visualization plugins such as Ontograph and Vol are used to create RDF graphs. Ontograph is one of the visualization plugins of Protégé that gives support for interactively navigating the relationships of all ontologies. The Vol plugin for Protégé, Protégé Vol, implements the visual notation for all ontologies to a large extent. Next figures show RDF ontology graphs created by the Ontograph and Vol plugins. This figure shows a visualization of the entrepreneurship skills class with Ontograph plugin. In this figure, you can see the entrepreneurship skills class with its relations and individuals such as problem solving, communication, innovation, learnability, value assessment, and etc. It's also possible to search in graph entities. You can make setting on the graph using the plugin features. This figure shows a visualization of the entrepreneur librarian class. As it is clear in the picture, the entrepreneur librarian class has two subclasses, including entrepreneurship skills and lease skills. The individuals and the relationships between the classes are shown in the figure, as you can see. This figure shows a visualization of the research topics for entrepreneurship in libraries class and its individuals. Finally, you see the visualization of the entrepreneurial opportunities for lease class with Vol plugin, which displays classes, relations, and individuals in a different way. And there are references. This is where my presentation ended. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that the content was useful for you and that you used it. I wish you the best of luck and have a great time. If you have any questions about my seminar, I am at your service. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you, Dr. Akram. That was a recording. I will now hand the time. I don't see any questions in the chat. I'll hand the time over to Lady, who introduced our other speaker for this first half of the session.
Thank you, Edward. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Fatian, for the great work. I think there is one question, Edward.
Do we have time for questions? I think Carrie asked about what the sources were used for the individuals. I think there was a part where we talked about the entrepreneurial librarian.
We've got 4 minutes for questions, so I think that's good. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, yeah. I don't know whether Dr. Akram saw that in the chat and whether she's able to answer to that question about where the sources are in order to form the skill sets and the ontology. And I think we have people who are interested in your ontology, whether you'll be shared online. I was trying to find something online as well, wasn't able to find anything. If you can share, that would be great. Or we could give her some time to respond, and then we can come back to her later, because I understand there's a translation going on as well. Lady, you want to carry on?
Yes, I can. We can start, as you said, later. Dr. Fatian can answer the question. So thank you. And Dr. Elizabeth is going to present the workshop on libraries in the social entrepreneurship sphere from the Department of Library and Information Science at the University of Nigeria. Dr. Elizabeth, please, the session over to you. Can you hear me, Dr. Elizabeth?
Oh dear, it looks like she may have just disappeared. I wonder if her connection went out. Because I did see her a second ago.
Yes, we can wait for a second. If she's not available, then I can go for lightning round.
Yeah, just looking at the participants, it seems like she's not here. So I think it's a good idea to go on to the lightning round. And then I hope that we can fit her in after the lightning round.
Yes. Dr. Elizabeth, if you are there, please, I can see you.
No, I've checked. She's not in the participants list. So I think we should go ahead with the lightning talks. Thanks, Lily.
So, I'm introducing in the next part of our conference, we are going to have our lightning round. And today we will have 4 presenters that I'm introducing them. Dr. Mitra Zarei, librarian at the Mashhad University of Medical Science. Nogozi Perpetual Ostrokovo, librarian, lecturer at the Namdi Ezviki University, Awka, Nigeria. And Jemmy Mackey, entrepreneurship librarian at Carnegie Mellon University, and Ashley Verlange Library Liaison to English and Drama at Carnegie Mellon University, and Alison Smith, Research Librarian at the University of Ottawa. So Dr. Zarei, yes, Dr. Zarei, please, the session to you. You start your presentation for about 7 minutes, and please take the time also. If you are there, please. Dr. Zarei, can
Hi
you
there.
hear me?
Hi there, do you have my voice?
Yes, yes. Yes,
Thank you.
yes, please.
Thank you. As we have limited time, I just start my presentation. Hi, everybody. We, Mitra Zarei and Maryam Andalib, are at your service with a short speech of our creative action. We both are medical librarians in complex of Mashhad University of Medical Sciences. Maryam is working in Akbar, a super specialty children hospital as a head librarian, and I am a medical librarian and information specialist and information consultant in medical school. With regard to the audiences, my colleague and I are very happy to share social entrepreneurship and experience in a medical library with you through this platform. We hope that this short speech can reflect our creative idea well and that the audience will enjoy us. If we want to make a link between the concept of librarianship and social entrepreneurship, we have to provide a brief definition of these two phenomena. Although a common definition of entrepreneurship in business refers to efficiency and economic profit, social entrepreneurship is not focused on capital return, but social entrepreneurs also consider having a positive impact on society. For social entrepreneurs, social motivations and concerns and helping to the society are more important than earning high profits and incomes. Social entrepreneurs use their creative capabilities to solve the society's problems. If we want to briefly explain the reason for addressing this idea and its necessity, we can point to the fact that the basic idea of this project originates from the fact that the study is not among the priorities of some people's lives. According to the available statistics, half of the populations of Iran does not read books at all, and the other half reads just one book a year. Therefore, the present researchers, of course, try to play a role in improving the study culture in the society by creating and implementing some simple ideas. Another issue that makes such a creative action necessary is the lack of collective communication. In the subject of reading, with the help of such idea, we can hope to improve collective communication, collective intelligence in the field of reading, hopefully. The implementation environment of the project is Akbar Super Specialty Hospital, Children Hospital in the complex of Mashhad University of Medical Sciences. In addition to doctors, this center tries to provide appropriate services to hospitalized children. In the following, the creative actions of this library will be explained. Plan to donate bedding books on the occasion of Mother's Day to professors, employees and students as desired. Implementation of usage management project on donated medical books that are neither too new nor too old. Making and handing our paper structures or origamis to children visiting the library. Implementation of the Simple Angel project, based on which doctors, nurses, and hospital employees share their experience and memories of children in the hospital on the hospital's social media. Holding various need-based hospitals for professors, employees, loan non-book materials, donation of a book authored by the head of the hospital is among the other services. Steps. In order to implement this plan, steps were taken. According to the library where the project is going to be implemented, and according to the needs assessment of the library as the audience, A book will be selected as a traveler's book in consultation with the Thought Council team on the intellectual circle of the library. First, all members of the intellectual team should read the book and do the following steps in order: preparing the announcement of the traveler's book to be installed on the back of the title page of the book, advertising and informing about the activity that is going to be done, starting the journey of the book by giving it as a gift to the first recipient, along with the notice on the back cover of the book for further guidance. After reading the book, each host fills the part of the survey page and enters the comments. When the book is passed from hand to hand among the audience and the survey page is gradually completed, the journey of the book is completed and ended, and it is handed over to the librarian. The librarian organizes the preparations for the book review meeting or a signing party, preferably with the author of the book, and if it's not possible, with profession and experts in the same field. About the learning outcomes, I can say some of the valuable results of this project can be expressed in the form of the following statements. Encouraging reading books with creative methods among the professors and staffs of Akbar Children's Hospital in order to increase the amount of reading and make people interested in reading with new social methods. Integration of social entrepreneurship in the field of librarian and information in order to use the good results of social entrepreneurship in libraries. Superiority of a collective and group reading rather than individual reading in order to increase collective communication and increase the level of people's awareness. Creating a group of book readers after completing a book travel course in order to carry out collaborative activities in the future, such as holding a reading session or criticism or other charitable activities. Here we have a sample form. You can see a sample form of traveler book attached to a book that has been traveled through the recipients, and we introduce this form in Persian and in English as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention, and be at peace.
Thank you, Dr. Zare, for the great presentation. There is only one question. Reese, we can go for question, or at the end of running lightning round, we can go for questions.
Yes. Just at the end of conference, I'll be at your service.
Okay, fine. So, Nogozi, can I ask you, please? Thank you.
Okay.
Nogozi, can you please start your...
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Could you please share my slide from there?
Yeah.
Where I cannot share it.
Before you start, yeah.
Okay.
The co-host sent me message that please, if any questions, presenters answer in the chat box. Dr. Zare, you can answer the question in the chat box. There is one question about your presentation. Nogozi, you can go. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Laili. I asked if you could share my slide from there while I talk from where I am, because where I am now, I cannot use my laptop, please.
I am pulling up your slides as we speak here, Ngozi. Thank you for your patience here, and I will be right with you.
Thank you. I'm ready when you are.
Phone is taking its time to get woken up too, and so it is just lagging it a little bit. And so thank you for your patience, Ngozi.
Okay, I'm waiting. Thank you. All right, I can see it now. Do I go on?
Yes, please. I'm sharing your slides. I think Celine is having some tech issues, but I can share your slides. You can go on. Yeah.
All right, thank you. My name is Dr. Ngozi Pepesha Osichukwu, a lecturer in the Department of Library and Information Science, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Nigeria. No, go back to the first slide. I'm going to talk to us about analysis of library social entrepreneurship from 2020 to 2022, the Wikimedia factors. Next, please. Now, social entrepreneurship can be defined or described as the process of assessing business opportunities or strategies to impact life to the members of the society and to everyone to create the world we need, where learning and knowledge can be accessible. That is one big role for libraries and librarians. Next. Now, in 2020, librarians in Nigeria delved into Wikipedia. We were introduced to Wikipedia as a sort of social entrepreneurship for us. And going into Wikipedia, it has given us some insight on how to involve other people in the activities of Wikipedia, people in all sectors. What I mean here, I mean the elites, the artisans, the students, everybody, even the librarians. We all get into it to get more to improve lives. Next, please. Now, what actually happened when we were introduced to Wikipedia by Affiliate? Yes, what happened was first, librarians' capacities were built in so many areas. The capacities were built in digital literacy, information and media literacy, coding. Some librarians were sponsored to local and international conferences. You can remember that during the IFLIA this year in Dublin, many librarians were sponsored by Wikimedia foundations. Yes, and out of that, 5 Nigerians were fully sponsored to that conference. Again, they give us grants. This time around, we're not talking about the budget cut or no, not at all. They give us budget to do more, to include the communities, to include everyone who is interested in learning. And these grants come in hundreds of thousands and in millions. And of course, the librarians use these grants to organize activities. Some of them were the One Ref that is very, very popular among librarians in the world. There were community engagement, cultural heritage support, translation services, and so many things. There were even collaborations with other peoples and other Wikimedia foundations to ensure that people learn and improve themselves. Next. Again, there were lots of prospects. What are these prospects? More librarians and libraries are now coming into that. The faculties are getting involved, even the schools. There is now reading Wikipedia in schools, in secondary schools. Many schools are now into it. There is traffic in the libraries because people are now coming in to talk about their cultural heritage, to know how to edit and write articles, to tell them stories themselves, not foreigners telling the stories about them. When you go to Wikipedia now, you see all these things. People are glad doing this because they have learned. But then there are lessons we learned so far in the 2 years that Wikimedia has come into Nigeria. Some people, of course, are still by the side watching and looking to know how it is faring. This is the time to tell them to come on and join, because there is this good thing going on. You know, you won't know it if you don't come. Just come close and test, and you see how good Wikimedia is encouraging social justice and social entrepreneurship. Next. Next. Now, it is still ongoing and more are coming our way. Remember, libraries are no longer spending their money. They are bringing the budget, they are bringing the fund and the grants to take us to higher level, where we can now do community engagement, where we can do public relations, where we can do so many things with our community, even amongst ourselves, to learn more and push knowledge to where it can be. Wikipedia is a very good social entrepreneurship in the Nigerian setting of today. Next. And with that, I say thank you for listening and hope that you will get closer and learn more with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ngozi, for your very informative presentation. Edward, Dr. Elizabeth is ready.
I think
Oh,
we're
no, I believe
finishing
that
the
it-
lightning rounds. Oh, sorry, Reese.
No, just saying the same thing as you think, Summer.
Yeah, okay. Yes, so I'm inviting Alison Smith for her presentation. Please, Alison, if you are there. Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, well, thank you. So my name is Alison Smith, and I'm very excited to be here with you today. I'm calling in from traditional unceded Algonquin territory in Ottawa, Canada, where I'm currently an academic business librarian. So social media listening is a loose set of techniques borrowed from netnography used to passively listen in on candid conversations that are happening on social media. It's used in marketing all the time, but the qualitative insights it generates can absolutely be used by entrepreneurs who are trying to understand very small, new, or niche business environments. So I've heard investors and funding agencies say the same thing about pitches. Yes, it's great when the entrepreneurs do good background research, but they know that the data on very niche markets are just estimates and that impact really needs to be demonstrated. How will this widget change the status quo? Oh, sorry. Video. Sorry. Hi, everyone. How will this widget or whatever change the status quo? Is the offering really 10 times better than what is currently being done? How can you show that? So what gets to the heart of impact better than listening in on people candidly talking about their situations, needs, problems, and day-to-day lives? So this lightning talk will very briefly present some techniques I've used across 2 case studies. One, a group of entrepreneurs who wanted to make and sell adaptive fashion for folks using wheelchairs. And 2, some young engineers who invented a little gizmo that can precisely measure weightlifting trajectories to prevent injury. So first is cluster analysis. So I find Reddit to be a really good platform for social media listening. It's organized into communities called subreddits. Most of these subs are open to anyone to browse or to join. And research has shown that people discuss product features, recommendations, and troubleshooting on Reddit, which is obviously great for defining what consumers want. Importantly, Reddit lets users be anonymous, allowing for more candid discussion of personal or stigmatized topics, which is harder to get at with traditional market research. Whatever platform you do choose, be aware of any kind of demographic bias of its user base. Glossing over a ton of details here, I used an R-based tool to scrape Reddit, starting with posts with keywords like accessible fashion or inclusive design, to get a sense of how and where these terms were spoken about. Then I scraped threads with specific keywords in a selection of subreddits, like one for wheelchair users and caregivers, and a community of practice for occupational therapists. With this data set, we ran a cluster analysis to see which terms co-occur most frequently and what kinds of thematic clusters emerged. So clusters allow distinct themes to appear quickly from the huge corpus of Reddit posts without manually reading or coding each comment. So from that analysis, we found several meaningful clusters, such as brands, identifying competitors already on the market, closures like zippers and buttons, telling us which features of adaptive fashion need to improvement, and 2 garment clusters emerged, pants and dress shirts, interestingly, which were both complained about or wished for by folks with disabilities. Image quilts are kind of a fun take on clusters in a visual medium. It's the name of a Chrome browser extension that scoops out images from a page. So you can go onto Instagram or something, pull up a hashtag or a geotag, and scroll to collect images to manually arrange into meaningful groups to see what patterns emerge. I strongly recommend exploring hashtag generators to see which hashtags are organically used by your audience of interest. So this was fun to do with the strength training group. We pulled up the hashtag no excuses and sorted the images into 4 quilts. Memes, people showing off gym culture and gear, pictures of people sort of flexing, and before and after shots. From these, we were struck by how many of the images were unfiltered and candid celebrations of effort and a work in progress. They weren't just showing off their strong bodies, but rather showing how far they had come and how much further there was to go. Next, tone and sentiment analysis. So tone analyzers use AI to identify which emotions are present or absent from a text. In the weightlifting example, I fed a sample of text from the strength training subreddit into IBM Watson, which found that analytical, tentative, joyful, and sad tones were present. People asking questions, encouraging each other, offering very detailed advice and critiques, but that confident tones were absent from the posts. Again, a surprisingly humble potential target market focusing on transformation and commitment. Sentiment analysis identifies positive or negative phrases, which can help get a sense of the overall valence of a social media conversation. It highlights outlier comments and experiences. Interpretive consumer researchers love studying extreme cases or people with unique stories, since those can actually be the most interesting and informative for understanding consumer behavior. And looking at adaptive clothes, the most negative comment was actually under a popular video of a man with cerebral palsy fastening a shirt with magnetic buttons. The Redditor was outraged at the placement of the video in the saccharine Made Me Smile subreddit and wrote that as a society, we should be sort of well beyond celebrating what they called the most basic and minimal reduction of barriers for a fellow person, and definitely should not be finding it cute. On the other hand, the most positive comment was someone excitedly describing the features of a pair of durable pants in great detail. These comments were both very quickly taught the entrepreneurs a lot about their audience. Finally, so-called deep listening can help get to the heart of the matter and allow entrepreneurs to get a sense of what would have an impact on their market by hearing how people tell their own stories. Deep listening involves immersing yourself in the online communities and paying attention. Metaphor, for instance, can speak volumes about what resonates with markets, as evidenced by the recurring metaphor of transformation and journey in the strength training community. Archetypes are universal patterns that are easily understood and serve as a shorthand for collections of characteristics or narratives. They communicate comprehensive ideas in an instant. These are well established in branding and marketing, and entrepreneurs can use archetypes to understand how a target market sees itself, or even the dynamics between people and a product. In our case, someone who wants accessible clothing might be an everyman looking for a fearless explorer in the form of fashion-forward adaptive clothes. Or maybe a wheelchair user sees themselves as the honest and brave hero of the story, seeking a knowledgeable sage in the form of customized garments or wearable tech to augment their mobility. All right, so this is all very fast, and I'm sure none of this was completely foreign to any of you, but I wanted to present it as kind of a proof of concept for using really creative ways to generate valuable qualitative insights using social media. Hopefully this will get you brainstorming and give you a few extra tools for your kit when meeting with entrepreneurs. So here are a few of the specific tools that I used in the past. Some of these have changed in the interim, but do keep an open mind and an eye out for new ideas, tools, apps, add-ons, and little free trials that can be used to get a sense of new, small, or very niche markets. All right, and thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Alison. It was very, very informative concepts. And you please, if you send your slides, to the co-host, so I will be grateful to know more about your presentation. It was really interesting. Thank you so much. Yes. And I'm inviting Jimmy and Ashley, our last presenters. If you have any question about Alison, please type in the chat box. Yes, Jimmy and Ashley, please, if you are there.
Yes, hello.
Hi, how's it going?
And I will start sharing my screen here and then start. Let me
Yes.
minimize this slideshow. And then just to check, do we see the slides up on the screen right now?
Yes, we're great, Jimmy. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So Ashley, whenever you are ready, I will let you take it away.
Hi, so welcome. Our talk's on Arts and Entrepreneurship, which is a program that we've created here at Carnegie Mellon. And Jimmy, thanks. So I am the library liaison to English and Drama here at Carnegie Mellon.
And
Jimmy,
I'm the entrepreneurship librarian. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm also here at Carnegie Mellon University.
And so basically, before we get started on explaining the sort of why, the demand behind this program, we should probably explain what is Arts X eShip. So it's a new pilot program that Jimmy and I have started here at CMU, and it's basically aiming to enhance the local innovation ecosystem through a bunch of different projects, workshops, library resources, but we're basically trying to unite arts and entrepreneurship and really extend the campus community into the local community to create an arts entrepreneurship ecosystem. And so who is this program for? So obviously it's for anyone who is an artist of some kind, a creative. So this can be students in fine arts, drama, music, etc. But it can also be non-traditional entrepreneurs outside of arts-related programs. So just anyone who's working on anything that could be categorized as arts-related entrepreneurship across the campus. And so we have set some goals for this program, both short and long term. In the short term, we have a workshop series, which Jimmy and I have already started here, with workshops such as Arts and Entrepreneurship and Introduction. Sorry, I just heard another meeting starting, apologies. But also we've had a workshop on Introduction to Cosplay and Project Management Principles. So we've tried to create a bunch of innovative workshops to emphasize these points. We're also doing needs and resource assessment, creation of instructional resources, networking and engagement in the community and across campus. In the long term, we hope to establish a consultation hub, as well as credit-bearing classes, which we hope to run through our makerspace here at CMU Ideate. We'd also like to create some incubator funds so we can actually fund some of these programs that we see coming in, so some of these ideas coming from our creatives on campus. And also, we want to create something that's really reproducible by other campus communities, so we can create a tool that all of y'all can really use on your campuses to establish these same sorts of programs. So why do we need this? I've had students come to me time and time again saying they need support, whether that's for their projects that they're doing through their department, or whether that's something they're working on like a passion project outside of that. And art students especially, I think, need funding, grants, and opportunities for growth, which aren't always provided given that funding sources tend to go to different sorts of projects on campus.
Yeah, and so I was recently working with some faculty in the business school, and I was sharing the ideas that Ash and I are exploring here. And they commented how they will sometimes have students emailing them asking, hey, can I take your class on entrepreneurship, but I'm not a business student? And that was striking for us because for those students who take the time to ask, how many of them don't even bother to begin with because they don't see themselves fitting into or belonging into this type of a space. And so that's what we're trying to do, is create that support network for those non-traditional folks who don't see themselves doing something trendy of sorts like AI or robotics. Someone who thinks, I want to start an Etsy shop, or I want to do something with Patreon. I just want to do something different. And so that's still entrepreneurship. That's something we still want to celebrate and embrace. So how are we going to try and facilitate that? So a lot of this does come down to embedded librarianship. So we're still doing, like Ashley talked a bit about workshops. We're doing classroom instruction with faculty across campus, networking with interdisciplinary folks. But we're also trying to directly connect with students outside of the academic context. So through advisorships to student organizations with entrepreneurial mindsets. So by being invited into their spaces that are student run, student organized, it's starting to create a different opportunity for dialogue and visibility with our community members. So essentially, we're trying to reposition the libraries as the central element in what we're calling an innovation pipeline. So say, for example, you have a music student who needs help with patent searching. If they go to the tech transfer office, they might not get help there, but they get directed to the library. We provide that skills development through a patent searching consultation, and connect them with the entrepreneurship hub so they can start to bring their ideas to market. So how this makes a difference is we're trying to target underreached audiences that either through bandwidth or funding may not have been reached out to in previous library initiatives. This is allowing us to help folks who have a smaller venture focus for small business or e-commerce start to build up some skills. From our initial look, there's a little bit of a gap of scholarship perhaps, so that might be an opportunity to start to work towards, but essentially our community members are already self-organizing around their shared ideas and creative outputs. The libraries have an opportunity here to enhance their potential for success and then offer institutional stability in the case of organizations, because you have knowledge loss when students graduate, and then those organizational boards turn over for leadership. So growth opportunities, the long-term ones, the main ones that actually kind of highlighted are reproducibility, because we want to build those pedagogical guides. We want to have something, a toolkit of sorts that can be shared out for other folks to utilize. But we're also thinking in terms of scale. So starting originally here on our campus, we want to bridge out to the local community. There's other cultural organizations, other libraries, other experts and folks who can have this two-way dialogue and kind of organic, larger ecosystem for speaker series and collaborative events. There's entrepreneurship fellowships that happen in these different realms. Can the library start to have one of their own, or how can we perhaps partner with other folks to enhance theirs? So that is our time for today. Thank you so much, and we welcome any questions that y'all might have.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley, and thank you, Jimmy, for the very informative presentation. Thank you so much. If any questions, please, you can type in the chat box. Ashley and Jimmy can answer to your questions. Thanks a lot. So I'm inviting Dr. Elizabeth. If you are there, please, for the first workshop.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
we can hear you. Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm Elizabeth Babaride. So I would love to talk about librarianship in social entrepreneurship. What do they do? This is a report of what we do here at University of Nigeria Environment, Nsukka generally, Nsukka Environment at Enugu State. So this is a report of what we do at Nsukka Environment. So our topic is the librarianship in the social entrepreneurship sphere. What do they do? It's a report of from 7 librarians from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. So it's a report of 7 librarians, what they do in as librarians in entrepreneurship. So to figure out what we have been doing in the community to change the library, to change the Nsukka community to a positive one. As we all know, the traditional image of librarian has always been that of a quiet, of a gentleman or woman that are sitting behind a bookshelf. And this role of this figure has been conceptualized as directing users to required information. And this passive role has never had a proactive role whereby the librarian will move out of the library building to meet his or her clients. So as a result of this, we can find out that many others are taking over the works of the librarian. Also, also the librarians are losing focus, and they are not doing what they're supposed to do in this area. So it's as if others are doing their job for them. And because of this principle that supports librarianship profession, the principle of neutrality, which state that librarianship should not bring their personal beliefs to bear on their professional practice, found out that this has made librarians to be sitting librarians where they just expect their information users to come in to get information. This has hindered them from going out to make positive changes in their environment. Also, and in this current world where we are now, we find that information is ubiquitous, and with the emergence of open access movements, and with the numerous socio-political challenges that are facing the world, such as migration, climate change, poverty, and hunger, there's now need for Liberians to be radical positive change agents, or for them to be social entrepreneurs within their community. However, we found out that few Liberians see themselves as agents of social change, or see themselves as social entrepreneurs. The belief of being in the library or directing users to information has become part of the day in this area of the world. So this study now decided to highlight the activities of a few Liberians in the Suka community that have rejected the concept of Liberians' neutrality and are active in implementing global visions of reducing poverty, reducing illiteracy, reducing hunger, and to be agents of positive change in their environment. So with this, we decided the study asked these questions to guide the study. We asked that, what do Liberians in social entrepreneurship, what do they do? And who are the partners of these Liberians in their social entrepreneurship businesses? And thirdly, we also asked that, how do they identify their partners and their collaborators in the social entrepreneurship business? So in the findings of the work, actually the work really is a descriptive survey. It's used with a qualitative approach using the interview. We had interview with each librarian that we understudied, 7 librarians altogether. We interviewed each one of them to know what they've been doing. So in the findings, what we find out that these librarians have been developing the reading habits of children because of the attention. If you see recently in Nigeria, there has been serious attention that have been drawn to poor reading habits in Nigeria. This has forced the librarians in this community, these 7 librarians, to organize reading programs for children of different ages. So they motivate children into reading. They develop different programs so that we can achieve the desires of to achieve the United Nations 17 Sustainable Goals. Especially Goal 14, Goal 4, that said each child should have a quality education. And among the programs that were developed by these librarians is the uninterrupted, sustained, silent reading, where we give each child, both in their schools and at a library here, a children's library here, children's center library here. We give them some minutes, like 25 to 30 minutes, to only read, to only get a book of their choice and read before any other program will start. So we give them this time to read for 25 to 30 minutes. And another program that was also developed is Drop Everything and Read. In this, the librarians, we go to the library, tell when they enter their classes in school, that now this is time for Drop Everything and Read. And the children will drop everything, pick a book of their choice, and read. Then afterwards, they make discussion about each book that was read. Also, there's a story hour program, which was done physically and online, on online version also. You know, this one involves forming a theme, a particular theme, then getting books that talk about this theme, both pleasure reading books like fictional books and non-fiction books, and maybe poetry and some other books, and then finding also the music, songs that can also go with this theme, so that it will be interesting to to the children. And from there, the children will also develop love for reading. And apart from this, there was another program that was also organized, reading clubs. Reading clubs was organized when the librarians find out that the teenagers in the community are not reading like the children, and that the teenagers do not really value much of reading. So the librarians decided to organize reading clubs for teenagers, where they read a book, a particular book per month, and then come on a fixed date to discuss what the book talked about, what is the relationship of the book to their life, and what they learned from the book. From this, the teenagers, we found out that they start picking interest and started even inviting their friends. Also, STEM was also, there's this STEM program for girls was also organized, where the girls in schools, this was organized in 2 schools at Suka community, where the girls are encouraged to go into science, because we found out that most of these children, especially girls, were running away from science subjects. So we got some biography books of girls that have been in, that have done one thing or the other in sciences, and books, storybooks that talks about children that have been in sciences and in mathematics and in technology, so that this can encourage the girls also to develop that love, to develop confidence in going for sciences. Also, a climate change program was also organized. This, at first, this was used for farmers because of the rate at which climate change was affecting production in this area, and particularly in a village also, that found out that the climate change was affecting the okra production, and the farmers were losing products. So the librarians decided to get information from Ministry of Agriculture, both at Anambra State, Nigeria, and at Enugu State, and went down to the villages that were affected by the climate change to give them information, and also to introduce them to the new seedlings that they can use and how it can be planted, so that the farmers will be able to produce they will have a bumper harvest in their production. This was organized by the librarians to give the farmers this information and how to go about the production in their farmlands. And although when the farming products started increasing, and the farmers started enjoying the products, the librarians had to leave them to it, since they've taught them, and then informed those ones that are there about how to keep up. So this the program stopped at that. Then climate change was also, education was also given to children, because there's a librarian that find out that in the Nsukka community, even in the university community, found out that people love to use disposable water bottle. That it became some sort of a fashion trend to use disposable water bottle, even for their children to take to school. They take the disposable water bottle to school, and these are now disposed. They are not disposed properly. It litters the floor. So the climate change, they organize this climate change education, where we'll to know the importance of taking care of our environment. So this was done for the children and for teenagers, to educate them on how it is important to take care of our environment, to make our environment clean. So there are some days that were brought out for this, that the children and the teenagers, we get to pick up what is in the surroundings, to see how they could be able to disperse this properly, how they could be able to do the waste properly and take care of the environment. And the effects, they were also educated about the effects of this plastics around in the environment, what the effects of it on our environment, on our climate, how it can affect the climate, and it can change it, that will affect us. So this different kinds of programs that were organized by the librarians to bring positive change in the environment. Also, we found out that during holiday periods in this community, children are left to wander around when the parents have gone to work or for their individual businesses. So the librarians decided to be having holiday program at the children's library every year, especially when there is a long vacation and during vacation. So in this time, they use this period to engage children and teenagers alike, to engage them in entrepreneurship skills, on what other skills they can learn by themselves, like skills of fashion designing, sewing, fashion designing, baking, cooking, different kinds of skills, even technological skills, even on sports. Invite different trainers to come and train them on this different activity, so that the children will not only be on academical sound, but they will also be sound in other areas. And then they will also have skills to show for what they have learned. So we give them skills that they can learn in the program. Also, there are two of the librarians liaised with some medical practitioners in the institution, and that's at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, because it was found out that there are women were having issues of or child bearing and things like that, but because of the kind of our society, that people don't really talk, people don't really open up. So the librarians decided to be having programs for women, health talk, health programs for women. So they alliance with some medical practitioners and the institution to give free tests for women and also advise them on what can be done and different kinds of things they can do to keep themselves in safe health, especially for the women that are looking for children in the society. So they liaise with these medical practitioners to on different kind of tests they can go for, and the need for them to always open up that there should be communication, the need for communication between them and the practitioners, so that they can check their emotions and also avoid depression, because the librarians, as they said, noticed that some of these women were having depression, they were being depressed. So they had to start this program so that they could enlighten them and they could inform them of what to do and to create confidence in them. So these are the ways that different kinds of programs and activities has been done by these librarians to create a positive change in the environment. And then one of the questions that were asked is if these librarians were doing this all by themselves, or if they have partners. And it was found out that the librarians work with partners or people that we can call collaborators, because it's not possible for one to be able to achieve this kind of change, to be able to achieve positive change in your area if you don't work with people, because there are different people in charge of these areas. Like in schools, there are different people in charge of schools, the education, people in charge of the local government education policy, people in charge of the school, like the head teachers, the teachers. So they had to liaise with each and every one of them. They have to partner with them so as to be able to get the children to be able to have this program for the pupils, for the students in their schools. Also, they have to, in doing this, we have to first identify all those that are in charge of each area you're going to, even in the medical line. You have to identify the medical practitioners that you want to liaise with and their head, so that we can have easy access and add programs for the different users. Also, with the issue of the farmers, the librarians had to first liaise with the Ministry of Agriculture to know how they can go about informing and educating the farmers. So in every area where the librarians are doing one thing or the other, to find out that they had to partner with others. They had to partner and collaborate in order for them to be able to educate their users. And apart from meeting their users physically, the librarians also meet their users online. That is on social media, especially on WhatsApp. That is when you have a program that you want to do or an activity, you post it on social media in order to attract people of like minds, in order to attract colleagues and people that want to see the positive change in their community and society. So these are the things that are done to post it online, and people that are interested, we signify their interest and see how we can move together to achieve the common goal. In the area of climate change, when the librarian in charge was looking for materials to use, because there was lack of materials, resources to teach children on climate change. You know, the librarian had to go online in order to see people that have done those type of things and how they got their materials. And from there, she was connected to many people that gave out resources, books, CD, plates, and things like that that can teach children on climate change and keeping their environment clean. So these are the ways that the librarians were able to be social entrepreneurs in their area, and also to work towards positive change in their community. So in the conclusion of the work, the conclusion of the work shows that librarians should not just be sitting down, just like those 7 librarians that were interviewed. You not just be sitting librarians waiting for users to come to them for information, but now with the situation of the society, with the information overload, and with the problems in the society, problem of hunger, poverty, the different kinds of delinquencies in youth, girls, child trafficking, and violence against women. It is necessary as librarians for us to be social entrepreneurs in our area, in our community, in our society, so that we can be the radical change agents that are needed in this present era. Thank you for listening. I hope 1 or 2 things was learned through this work. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elizabeth, for sharing your conducted programs with us. And thank you so much for all of our workshop presenters and also lightning talks presenters for sharing their great knowledge and ideas with us. Now we are closing the session. And if you have any questions from Dr. Elizabeth presentation, please type in the chat. And we are turning to the networking session. Thank you everybody for listening and being with us. Thanks a lot. I'm closing the session. Thank you.